Good morning, Force followers, and welcome to Force TV. It's been a morning. Let's just say it's spring break, right? My name is Brittany Arduini, and I'm the director of Houston Force Volleyball Club, and I come to you live each week to teach you all things volleyball. Today, we are doing a bonus episode. It's not one of our season episodes. We are bringing you one of my greatest friends and the owner of SA Force, Jamie Blair. I can't wait to interview him and to have him share with you his story about opening SA Force and how our relationship built from a brief college friendship to a growing business partnership. If you're here live with me, give me a big heart, show me some love. But if you've missed this live and you're watching it on the replay, comment below, hashtag replay. Let me know that you were here. All right. First, before we get started, I want to tell you about our 2021-2022 club volleyball tryouts. I know it's March, we're thinking about this already, but here is where you're going to hear about it first. I don't have specific dates or times just yet, but I want to let you know that we are looking at the last weekend in June. So get that on your books, put it in your calendar, and know that our tryouts will be sometime at the end of June, okay? We are working on the times with the gym, and we are planning on having the tryouts in June. More details will come soon. You'll hear it first live here on our Force TV episode whenever I have the concrete times to announce it. But we are looking for all athletes between the ages of 11 and 18, and we currently have teams from 14 to 18s, and we're wanting to build our program. So we're looking for 11s through 18s. We want to build and have a 12s team, a 13s team, and then continue to have our 14s, 15s, 16s, 17s, and 18s teams. I shared with my viewers a couple months back that my goals for Houston Force were to expand 3 times what we are now in the next 3 years. So we're starting today and letting you know that that's what we want to do, and get in our summer programs, summer camps, and get in for our tryouts at the end of June. Continue to watch live every Thursday, and I will let you know everything you need to know about tryouts. All right. So my guest today is Jamie Blair. Like I said, he's a great friend of mine. Our families have grown close over the last 4 years, and we spend a lot of time together, and we really help each other out when it comes to growing and refining our 2 programs. If you've been around Houston Force for a while, you've probably heard my side of our story, but if not, here's a quick recap. Jamie and I went to Texas State together. We met through a former teammate of mine my freshman year, and that was really it. We hung out a couple times freshman year, but weren't friends the rest of college. Once we graduated, I started coaching club here in Houston and saw that Jamie had started SA Force and was really making a name for himself. He expanded in Corpus at the time, had a few teams in San Angelo and Kerrville, Texas, and I was interested in having him expand the Force name to Houston. So one day I wrote him an email letting him know that I was impressed with what he was doing, and if he ever wanted to expand to Houston, that I was the girl to run the program. 3 years from that email, I got a call from Jamie, and he said, let's do it. It's time. It was March 2017, and we haven't looked back. We started Houston Force 4 years ago, and Jamie and I now talk on a daily basis and do everything in our power to make sure that the Force brand becomes as well known as possible. So without further ado, I will bring on Jamie Blair. 1 second. Hi, Jamie. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm probably like yelling in your ear.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. I can hear you. I just can't see you on video. That's all. I
Oh,
just see your picture.
okay. Well, dang, that stinks. I wanted you to be able to see me. Oh, well, we'll make it work, right?
Um, I can make it work. What's going on? How are you? I'm glad to be here.
Thank you again for joining me. I think we've been talking about doing an interview for a couple months now, and I'm really glad that we were able to finally coordinate, get it on our calendar, and make it work.
Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good deal. I just wanted to make sure. I've been having technical problems all day. So, um, yeah, so thanks for having me. I have seen, obviously, you do this on social media for the last, gosh, I don't know. It's been a couple months now, I think, at least. And, been anxious to get on. So it's a good thing. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. So something that I always have my guests do is tell me their volleyball story. Where did it start? Where obviously you are running Force, but where did you start when it came to volleyball?
Yeah, so most people don't know this about me, but I grew up in Katy, obviously where you are. Went to Katy High School. Spent my adolescent years growing up there. Wouldn't change it for the world. And I got into volleyball just because my older sister, played.
Hmm.
She played club. She played in high school, obviously. And one of the really cool parts about it is I would be the tag along little brother chasing balls and spending mom and dad's money in the concession stand, etc. So I was introduced to volleyball at a very young age. Following that, when I got to high school, we would always go to the precinct and play beach volleyball on the weekends with a bunch of friends.
Oh
And
yeah,
so it's the substation, I guess, that's at I-10 and
Barker
is
Cypress.
it Barker Cypress? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I spent many late nights there with friends doing a lot, and it was definitely a ball. So once I got to college, I played on the men's club volleyball team at Texas State, and then I did that for 2 years, and then I actually started coaching club volleyball because I was enjoying being around it and being involved, but I wasn't making any money, and I needed a part-time job. So that's when I kind of forewent playing men's club, my last 2 years in college, and then started coaching club on the side. So that's kind of where my affinity for volleyball started. A path that I really never knew would get to where we're at today, but definitely wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah. And in that process, you met your wife through volleyball, is that right?
I did. So my sophomore year in college, I was coaching for a club here in San Antonio, and I was at the Tour of Texas qualifier in Austin. And I was at the Tour of Texas qualifier in Austin, and one of the gals that I was coaching with told me, she said, "Hey, there's a girl over there. She's watching her younger sister who plays on one of our club teams here. Why don't I introduce you to her? She's really cute. I think you guys would go great together, etc." And so one thing led to another. We talked. We went out that night for dinner with a bunch of coaches, and we kind of never looked back. So that was really cool. The most unique part about Ashley and I's relationship from where it started was when we met. We met on a Saturday in January. When we met, she had actually just been accepted to transfer to Texas State from Angelo State a couple of days prior to us meeting. So she was transferring to go to the business school at Texas State in San Marcos, where obviously I was and you were in school. So the timing of that kind of was impeccable, and it kind of ended up working out, and we've been together and never looked back since.
Yeah, that's kind of cool that the timing worked out. And then I think that there's a later story where the timing kind of just worked out. And so it's just like a constant thing working out for you guys. And I love that. So um, I, I don't know if you want to share this story, but I always enjoy listening to you tell it, how you and Ashley started SA Force.
Yeah, so we both coached at another club in town, and we just, we both had business degrees in college, and so we felt like we could run a club more efficiently than what we had experienced and encountered in years past. And so what we ended up doing was we decided we were going to start a club. She was going to coach a team. I was going to coach a team. We were basically going to have money to go out with friends on weekends, and we would have two teams, and we were going to continue with our everyday jobs. She was a sales and marketing rep in the grocery store industry, and I was a marketing director for Chick-fil-A at the time. And we had always joked all through college, hey, if we ever start a club, we should name it Force. We'll be a force to be reckoned with. May the force be with you. We always kind of joked about it, but we never really we never really looked deep into it. And that
Sure.
was just kind of a joke. And then when the time came to open and start our actual club, we decided that there was no other name we could pick besides Force. And so luckily, in terms of branding, it's really been able to grow and catch on over the years. But so we decided it was going to be Force. And so we marketed and advertised and did what we felt was fit in order to kind of get ready and prepare for tryouts the first year. And we had enough players show up to our tryouts that summer of 2010 to form 11 club teams. And so we quickly outgrew what our anticipation and desire was in terms of what we wanted, and kind of, went into overdrive with regard to planning and how business was going to work and how we were going to be organized and bringing people on and more coaches, et cetera. So we did that in the summer of 2010, July of 2010. So her and I actually got married at the end of July 2010. We moved into a house in July of 2010, and we had the club trots and started the club all in the same month. So we did all of that. And then we continued to work our jobs and run the club with those 11 teams, August, September, October, and November. And when we got to Thanksgiving, it was really comical. And this is probably the part of the story that you were asking about. It was really comical because when we got to November, club season was about to start, and we were realizing how overwhelming it was being. And so I came home from Chick-fil-A one day. It was the week before Thanksgiving. And I came home from Chick-fil-A at lunchtime because I was going to spend the afternoon, the 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon, trying to figure out how I was going to tell Ashley that I had put in my 2 weeks notice and resigned from Chick-fil-A, that I was going to quit my job. I was going to run the club full time. She still had her job. She had her health insurance. I could jump on there, and we weren't going to look back. And so I got home, I pulled in the driveway, and her car was there. And so I was like, well, that's weird because she normally never comes home for lunch. So I walked inside, and she was sitting on the couch crying. And I was like, what's wrong with you? And she said, well, I just hate my job. So I turned in my 2 weeks notice and I quit. But it's okay because you can keep working at Chick-fil-A and I can run the club and we can still make the same amount of money and we can be on your insurance at Chick-fil-A, et cetera, et cetera. And so obviously I got a huge lump in my throat. I had no idea what to say. All I could do was just console her and tell her, hey, it's going to be okay, et cetera. So what's funny is I actually didn't tell her that I quit my job. And for the next 4 weeks, I woke up every morning. I put on my slacks and my golf polo and my Chick-fil-A golf polo. And I would go to Starbucks or Office Depot or Staples and sit and work on my computer all day until 4 o'clock. And then I would come home and she'd ask how was work. And I'd say, oh, it was great. We had it was a busy day, et cetera, et cetera. And I didn't have the heart to tell her until I think it was maybe the week or two before Christmas, just after December 15th. I finally told her that I had quit, but I didn't have the heart to tell her. And surprisingly, she wasn't mad. She understood. And so I had to tell her because, my next paycheck wasn't coming before Christmas. So we actually ended up making it through that time. And it was probably one of the most peaceful, comfortable times we've ever had, in our relationship, like just in terms of, we were both at peace with our decision and we didn't know what the heck we were going to do. And obviously because we both quit our jobs, our income got cut in half. So we really had to change and cut back on a lot. However, it was probably the best decision her I ever could have made. So that's kind of how Force came to be. We both started working full time for the club that year, or at that point in time, and we really never looked back. And she coached a team and I coached a team the first few years, and then she has moved into running and managing all of our uniforms and our gear and our pro shop and handling all of the screen printing and embroidering for all of our clubs. It's really been a blessing, her involvement and how hands-on her and I both are. So that's kind of how we started. It's been quite a roller coaster ride over the last 11 years. At the end of year 10, I would have said, man, this has been great. And then year 10 and 11 started with everything we've gone through over the last year or so. And it's definitely been a challenge, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because you both decided to quit, but then it gave you an opportunity to really give it your all. And I think that that's honestly why Force is what it is today. If you guys had decided to both
Sure.
stay at your jobs and, do this technically on the side, then it might not have grown to the level that it is and how fast it grew. So, looking back,
And
hindsight's 2020, but I think you guys made the right decision.
Well, absolutely. And I have to tell you that, for me, my biggest, I think our biggest asset goes unnoticed here. I think the workability that Ashley and I have to see each other day to day, all day, every day, work together. I mean, obviously there are tough times working with your spouse. I see her in the morning at home when we wake up. I see her during the day. I see her at night. I see her on weekends.
Yeah.
It can get difficult sometimes, obviously, for sure. But I think that's probably one of the biggest assets that people don't realize is this organization and this business is run by two people that are very passionate about it and that work very well together. And I think we do a pretty good job communicating about most things together. I mean, to be honest, even moving into our new gym where we're at today, during this interview, her and I actually share an office. We don't have separate offices. We used to be on opposite ends of the hallway at our old place, but now we share an office, and it works out pretty well. We've been together 11 years, happily married, and we've had our business 11 years, and it's been blowing and going ever since. So it's definitely a blessing. And I think that's an asset that goes unnoticed a lot. That, shout out to her, kudos to her for putting up with me, because I know I'm not easy to manage or work with all the time.
Yeah, but I think it helps that you guys both have kind of your own part of the business, right? So she does the uniforms and the boutique, and she has her thing, that's her baby, and then you do more of the volleyball and the club part of it. And so I think that helps marry the two in y'all's relationship. So I would say that working with you both, yes, you guys have a very great working relationship, and obviously a very great family relationship. Me and my husband and my kids love coming and visiting you. So we get to see both sides of both of you, and I love that. So,
sure, absolutely.
But I did want to ask, because I don't know if I know this. I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but what made you decide to even expand the brand out of San Antonio? Like, what made you comfortable enough to do that? Were you a little uncomfortable giving away some of, your brand control and things like that? I know that Corpus was the first one to expand to, but I don't really know if I know why you did that. So if you could share.
Sure. It's twofold, Brittany. It's the first, kind of has to do with a business mindset, perspective, philosophy, infrastructure. From a business standpoint, if you have a small business, no matter what it is, you're always interested in looking at opportunities to grow, whether it be in terms of principle or philosophy, in terms of business, in terms of, the workforce and labor force, finances, whatever the case may be. If I'm not a big believer in flatline business. You're either, growing and increasing, or you're declining and decreasing. There's really not a way to be in the middle.
Sure.
And so I feel like you always have to evaluate opportunities. I said it's twofold. Business is the first. The second is, my true passion, and this is a little bit deep, but my true passion from when I was in middle school was business and kids. When I was in middle school and high school, I started a lawn care company with me and a couple of buddies. It was called Accent Lawn Care, and our slogan was "More mow for your money." And most people probably don't know that. We had T-shirts made, and it was hilarious. And we actually did like 15 or 20 yards just down my street, and we would just walk the mower and weed eater back and forth down the sidewalk in Governor's Place, right there in Katy on at Highway 99 in Peak.
Yeah.
We would go back and forth, and we did that middle school, high school, and then when I was in high school, I coached summer league swim team at oh God, I don't even remember the name of the deal. It was West Memorial. I don't even remember the name of the swim team now. Anyway, so it's been a really kind of road up through my childhood. Like, I had a passion for business. I had a passion for kids. And when I went to college, I coached summer league swim team. I got coaching club volleyball. I came from a family of educators. My mom and dad both at one point in time were teachers in Houston, I think in Katy, and then before that at Waltrip High School. And so they met teaching, and that's where my parents got married. And then my dad moved on, and my mom taught up until a couple of years ago when she retired. And then now my sister is a high school volleyball coach and teacher here in San Antonio. My brother's not into education. He's not in education, but I grew up with a family of educators, and being around youth and having a positive life impact on them was something that I have always been passionate about. It's always woken me up in the morning and got me excited about the day and about life. I mean, all the time. And so the reason, to answer your original question, the reason I wanted to, or I was interested in expanding, was because I knew that from a quality perspective in San Antonio, we really have kind of maxed out the positive impact we can have on kids here in San Antonio with 33 teams. We've got, it's hard to have more than 33 teams, because then you run into how good are the coaches? What's the quality of training? What's the quality of communication? We don't want to get too big. And so I really wasn't able to have the best positive impact on these kids that I wanted if we grew to 40 or 50 teams. Sure. So we cut our club to 33 teams every year. But if I expand to another city, now I can grow and expand my positive impacts on kids. And now, obviously there are other bonuses, like we can grow the brand and we can become more well known. And now we can do things together that carry a lot more weight in the volleyball world than if we were separate or apart. Yeah. So those things are all positives. But the very root of my intention for why I was interested in expanding was I can go to sleep at night knowing that what we've done.
Oh no. It looks like I lost him. And honestly. Okay, well, anyways. 1 second. There we go. I am going to try and get him back on, but until then, that is Jamie Blair. Let me text him. Okay. Anyways, we were going to talk about, he was talking about how he was expanding Force into Corpus so that he could make the positive impact on, the youth athlete. And that's exactly why I got into club volleyball. One, because I love volleyball in general. I played it for a long time. I played in college. But the reason that I really wanted to open a club was because I was tired of just coaching one team. I was tired of only being able to impact those 11 or 12 athletes at one time. So when I went to Jamie to, tell him that I would love to expand to a club in Houston, it was because I wanted to be able to have the same impact that he is having on his athletes, on our athletes here in Houston/Katy. That's not what I want. So I think that our philosophies on why we wanted to run our clubs really impacted our working relationship. And so but because we had the same beliefs, we worked really well together. And
oh, there you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, okay. I can see you on video now.
Yay, you're back. Okay, great. I was just trying to cover up like no, it's fine. I was just saying that our philosophies matched because you wanted to impact the athlete in San Antonio and you want to grow the brand to help impact athletes across the state of Texas. And then the reason that I wanted to do a volleyball club too was because I was tired of just coaching one team where I was only getting to impact 11 or 12 kids at a time. And that I think our philosophies meshed really well. And that's why our working relationship works really well, is because we both want to bring the positive sports aspect in volleyball to our athletes and do it to, greater numbers. And so when I can not coach, but be the director of 6 or 8 teams, I'm impacting 60 to 80 kids instead of just the 12. So I was just trying to cover
what's funny
or build time between.
I'm sorry. And I don't know what happens. I appreciate that. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that is so exciting about us, and forgive me, I don't know where it cut me off earlier, but I will tell you that being able to have a positive life impact on kids across the state and not just in San Antonio is something obviously that when I go to bed at night, I absolutely love. And I'm so passionate about it. But I will tell you, there are not many people that have the opportunity to impact youth lives day to day like you and I do, and so many at a time. I think the average person is able to impact, a youth age 18 and under. I think it's like 30 or 40 times in their lifetime. And you and I
Yeah.
do that in 1 week. We
Right.
have that type of connection. So anyways, that's really how and why we wanted to expand the brand. Like I said, there's kind of two different reasons, but the selfish reason for me was because of my passion for impacting kids in a positive manner. So that's really been the reason and the being for us looking to grow and expand, and finding the right people to connect, such as you. It has been perfect. Is it difficult to let go and let somebody take the reins? Yes, but when you have the trust and the faith in someone like you, it's very easy to do, and know that the decisions are going to be made with the same thought process and the same passion that we have, and that is comforting, and that's all that we need.
Yeah. I think we, like I was kind of saying, we mesh well, and we run a business together in a way, and we do it really well. We speak together really well. I mentioned in the intro that we end up talking almost on a daily basis, whether that be a personal talk or business talk, or just straight volleyball, but we talk all the time. And I
Right.
think that, in the back of our minds, or in the things we don't really talk about, is that we have that same passion, and that we have the same philosophy when it comes to um, impacting the athletes of the world. And so it allows us to kind of have a self understanding for each other. So I really love that. And I love that about our relationship and our business, and how we are growing force. I mean, across, I guess, Southeast Texas, I guess. I don't know, whatever we are.
Sure.
um, so I wrote in my script, I wanted to ask, are you happy that you made the expansion to Houston, and that we've built Houston Force? Is that something that are, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but happy that you did?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously growing up in Katy, I'm particularly I have a particular affinity for Katy and West Houston, and like I said, I wouldn't change my experiences in growing up and the friends that we made, and what I went through for anything, and that's always been important to me. So I knew I never really wanted to live there in my adult life, but having a connection to be able to come back and see those things, and see some of my friends and some of the people that had impacts on me growing up, is still something that I absolutely love. But more importantly, the connection that you and I have made. You growing up in that area, Southward Sugar Land, and being in that area and kind of being able to take what your passion has always been and
Hmm.
grow, and then connect with me in terms of what your desire is, and why you really want to do this, because of the same reasons I mentioned, the passion for the kids and making positive life impacts. Those are all things that get me excited about having Houston Force, and knowing that we're able to be in a big city, 3 hours away, and offer an organized, competitive, high quality experience in the club volleyball world for players and families looking to grow and develop to get to the next level, whatever that next level might be, no matter what age it is.
Right.
All of those things are the reasons that I wanted to expand and grow, but you've been able to make it in Houston something that's more than that. You've been able to make it about family. You've been able to make it about the player and what they're getting out of the experience first and foremost. And I think that's really hard to find, to be very honest with
Sure.
you. And so I'm ecstatic that we've been able to grow into Houston, and looking forward to continuing to grow. And I think there's bigger and better things on the horizon for you guys with Houston Force. And I think our ability to work together, and our working relationship, and the ability to communicate with each other, I think is not common, what you and I have versus maybe what other people have, especially being remote and having to connect almost 100% on phone calls, text messages, emails, and Zooms or FaceTimes. There's a lot of nonverbal communication that goes unnoticed, body language that goes unnoticed, and you and I seem to work pretty well together. So it's definitely been something that I have been more proud of in recent years, of being able to grow organically the right way in Houston and make it what it is today. And like I said, I think there's a lot of opportunity here for us in the coming years in Houston. So
me too.
With the infrastructure that we have and that you've put in place in Houston, I think it'll be great.
Well, and that's what I was going to talk about next was, I don't know. I mean, obviously, if you're a part of Houston Forest, you probably know this because you get emails from maybe somebody in San Antonio. But I wanted to briefly cover like how you help support Houston Forest. I mean, I know I'm a one-woman show with a great coaching staff, but there's some great people in San Antonio that do help support me in making the day-to-day work life for the club easier. It would be very, very overwhelming if it was just me by myself trying to do it all. So talk briefly about that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I knew in the beginning, based on my experiences at Chick-fil-A, and then when I was in college at Texas State, I was also a bar manager in college for a little while. And so my experiences there taught me that if you're going to grow, you can't give 100% reign to whoever it is in the beginning, because they have to learn and understand the experience and advice and nuances behind decision making. Why we do this, why we do that, why do we do this? For instance, like, in our world, why do we choose to go to this tournament versus that tournament? The decisions behind it, whether it be the scheduling or the team or the coaching, or, there's different factors.
Yeah.
So I always knew if and when we expanded, we would house some of the, or continue to host some of the integral office infrastructure tasks in-house here in San Antonio, so we could be hands-on and manage them. So things like accounting, bookkeeping, invoicing, payments, player accounts, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
We still have the ability, obviously, in both locations in Houston and San Antonio, we have the ability to make payments, send checks, pay bills, schedule things. We've obviously always got that remote ability there with you and here with us. But keeping some of those tasks in-house allowed someone like you or our director in Corpus, Crystal, when we started there, and then obviously with the Woodlands Force, Stephanie, our director out there, that allows someone like you to make the decisions day to day in a volleyball setting. So the coaches, the training, the practices, the schedules, talking to parents, going to tournaments, hotels, all of those things are things that we assist and work with you on, but we pull our weight here handling those things I mentioned a minute ago, like the invoicing and the payments and the accounting, while we want you to handle the face-to-face, I'm trying to think of the right word, the face-to-face piece and the volleyball piece. That's our business. Volleyball, people, communication, interacting face-to-face, all of those things are what makes the world go around in our world, in the volleyball world. The other office stuff is kind of nuances that you have to have organized, or you're not going to be able to keep the business successful and continue to focus on that. So that was what we did in the beginning, obviously. And as time has gone on, you've taken on more of those roles and responsibilities in Houston, and now you're almost 100% operating on your own compared with us. Obviously, we still work together and we still do things. But now, over the course of those first few years, you were able to take on more of that responsibility once you got comfortable. Where for us, we started from 11 years ago and did everything from day one. So we were able to help you just focus on the volleyball piece, which is what's most important. And as time went on, slowly help educate ourselves on why we do things and what we do and where we go. And now it's like, I mean, you're rocking and rolling. Now you're calling me saying, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Hey, what do you think about this idea? And like you said earlier, we're a backboard for each other. sounding board, and it's really, really positive for both of us because I use you to help me make graphics for our concession stand. I use you to help me handle parent issues and ask for your advice on things. I use you to help us make decisions on what tournaments to go to and what's the pros and cons of this event versus that event. I mean, there are a lot. Most people don't know that there's so much thought and there's so many people helping think through all of these minute decisions that it really is. I mean, it really is a family here. We always talk about Force family. It really is a family, and I've said earlier about different things, but I wouldn't trade what we have for the world with you in Houston Force and Ashley and I in San Antonio Force.
Yeah, perfect. I love that. I mean, that's exactly what I wanted you to share, that you helped get the process started and that your staff still continues to help me with the tuition and stuff. Because it would be a little overwhelming trying to come in from the get and not having any of that stuff on the back end that people don't see. And it did allow me to be able to be a face and be upfront with people and I don't know, be the face of Houston Force. And so it was nice to have to not worry about those things because I probably would have just not done as well. But yes.
Well, you know what though, and I think I would love for your Houston Force families to understand and recognize that, on one hand, you get to make 100% your own decisions in terms of, not you get to make it, that's the word choice. You make 100% of the decisions on a day-to-day basis. And you know what's best for your club, for your teams, for your players, for your parents, your families. You know what's best, whether it's be scheduling tournaments, uniforms, gear, whatever that is. We are here obviously to support. We help put together, the invoices and accounting and payments. We help put together the uniforms and screen printing and embroidery and jerseys and all that kind of stuff. But there is also a support piece that a lot of people are, unfamiliar with or to, and that is the daily communication that you and I have, bouncing ideas back and forth off each other, and going to tournaments, watching each other's teams, staying at the same hotel so we can go to dinner together when we're done playing and connect. How did your teams do? Oh, we had this problem. And then down, to the nuts and bolts, you and I have great volleyball conversations, rotations and lineups coaches are running, and opening our eyes to new things, new offenses, new defenses.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think that's something that goes unnoticed that I talked earlier about, kind of unfamiliar assets people aren't noticing. I think that's an asset that you and I bring together to the table for Force as a whole that people don't realize and see and understand how valuable it is. So you really helped us open our eyes to a lot of things as well. So that's definitely something that I think is a support piece that most other clubs, even clubs that branch out, don't have and can't brag about that they are able to, prosper with and use to their advantage.
Right. Well, awesome. So there's one last thing that I want to ask you about, or that I would love for you to share, because I think it's a really big deal for you, and I think it's something you're really proud of. But what's the newest thing going on with SA Force?
So, Force, let's see, this was we're in our 11th season.
Yeah.
We decided a few years ago, when Ashley and I were at Texas State, we did our capstone business management class. Our final project was a business plan for a business that we had to select, and we opted for a sports and rec center. And at the time, I was young and naive in college. I thought, well, this is, if you build it, they will come, right? Like the old movie, Field of Dreams. And so we thought, oh, yeah. And our professor told us, when we presented the project, I think we got like a C- on the project. And I was so disappointed, and I was so upset. And I always thought, I'm gonna go back and show Dr. Bell. He was our professor at Texas State, and I said, I'm gonna go back and show him that this didn't deserve a C-. And so the Wednesday in 2020, Wednesday, March the 4th, Ashley and I signed a lease and put a deposit check down, or signed the paperwork and put a deposit check down on our new building. And we were going to spend the rest of the club season, March, April, May, and the beginning of the summer doing all the construction on the inside and building it out and getting it ready to go. And then the world shut down, and we were,
Oh yeah.
you know, hesitant on should we have made the decision, should we have. It was terrible timing. Just this big burden got put on top of us, on top of everything else.
Right.
And once it happened, we kind of just said, once we reopened in the summer, we kind of just said, you know what, May 18th is here. We're opening in San Antonio. That was our first day after the pandemic, and we never looked back. And so we just moved in. We actually were in our old space through the end of the year because we did zero construction until the end of the summer because of the pandemic.
Right.
So we stayed in our old gym until Christmas. And the week before Christmas, I guess the 23rd, we officially moved out of our old gym and into our new gym. And so we are here. We've been here for 3 months now, I guess. And it's definitely been, there have been some sleepless nights trying to get our feet under us and hit it right in the middle of the busiest time of year. But
Sure.
Opening a facility and being here is something that I think is, oh man, it gets me more and more excited because I know you and I talk about really in the next couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years, trying to do something in Houston, whether it be small and growing, starting off small scale and growing to a large scale, but doing
Right.
something there like this, I think, is necessary to the growth of the club, to the feel of the club, and then being able to offer more. Ultimately, being able to do more for the players and offering more, I think that's important. I'm sitting in front of our media wall right now, but I know you're not going to want me to do this, but I'm in our gym right now. You can see,
Yes.
pull my computer up so everybody can see my computer. So, anyways, that's what I was trying to do all day. Sorry. So anyway, that's kind of, sorry. That's kind of where, we're at. And we've been able to grow into this building, and it's been a long time coming. All of our staff have offices here. My office down there is the one I was telling you that I share with my wife, Ashley.
Yeah.
So everyone's here. I know when you have come to town, you've been able to come here and work with us and just do some little things here and there here in our offices as well. But
Well, we played
I
there
really think
a couple weekends ago.
you did. Yeah. Y'all did. Y'all came for an
It
Alamo
was
Volleyball
awesome.
Club tournament, and they rented our gym, and they were here. And so,
Yes.
I don't know. I'm really excited because we've been able to test the waters, and we've seen what runs well and what doesn't, and how things work. And I am abnormally excited about the potential growth opportunity and expansion into Houston, say, before the next 5 years are up.
Right.
Trying to grow and have some sort of, even if it's a small scale facility there, and really be able to work on growing Houston Force to make it a long-term staple and asset to the city of San Antonio and the volleyball world.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. I mean, that facility
So,
is nice.
well, that's cool. I've been enjoying. We've enjoyed having and doing what we've been able to do. It's been a long time coming, but the cool thing is now for you, that timeline is going to be shortened by 50% or more. It's trying to get something in Houston for you and your clubs. So we're excited. I'm excited going through this and writing down all of our notes, what works, what doesn't, because it's coming to Houston soon, I promise.
Yay. All right. Well, it's been about 45 minutes. So,
I know. I'm
um
sorry. I talk a lot.
no, you're good. I think everything that we talked about is very important for people to know. I know I remember when we first started, you were like, I don't want to be a part of Houston Force. I don't want people to really know me too much. And I fought you on that a lot because I believe that everybody deserves to know who you are, deserves to know what you've done, what you're bringing to the community. And so it's been 4 years, and now I'm kind of like throwing you out to the wolves. But I think it's important that people know our relationship and how we, what our goals are for both San Antonio and Houston Force. And what the history is behind the whole thing. I think that's very, very important. So I want to thank you so much for
Absolutely.
joining me today. I'm sure we'll do another one sometime soon, and talk about maybe more volleyball related stuff. But I wanted everybody to meet you, and I'm really glad that we got to get to do this today.
For sure. Thank you all. Thank you for having me. If you guys ever see me at a tournament or something, feel free to come introduce yourself and say hello. I'm always available. I would always love to say hi and meet you guys and see you. So, Britt, thanks for having me today. It's been a pleasure.
You bet. And if anybody from San Antonio is watching this, and wants to ever come say hi to me at a tournament too, I'm always more than happy to talk and meet people that are a part of Jamie's family. And if you're part of my family, Jamie is wants to meet you and talk to you too. So thank you again, Jamie, and I will see you hopefully next weekend, right? You're gonna try and come to our golf thing after your tournament. If,
I'm
like
going
I
to try
said,
to make the golf event. Yeah, we've got some teams in Houston for the tournament, the Lone Star Classic 18. So we'll be in Houston, and if as long as my team isn't planning on coaching, then I will be at the golf event.
that's what I said. I said if you're not in the finals, you have to come to the golf tournament. But hopefully you'll make it to the finals and
Exactly.
qualify.
Exactly. That's the goal. That's the goal.
It's always the goal. All right. Well, thanks, Jamie, and I will
For
talk to you
sure.
soon.
Thank you guys. Y'all have a good day.
Bye. Man, that was awesome. I'm so glad you guys got to meet Jamie. That was really fun. There's just some really funny stories that he always has to share, and I wanted you guys to hear them. So maybe you have a better understanding of who Jamie is, and maybe even who I am, and how the two of us work together to bring you the best experience that we can at Houston Force and San Antonio Force. So I have one thing I want to bring to you. I want to share with you our Top Golf fundraiser. It's only 10 days away. I can't believe it. It's next Sunday, March 28th, and it's almost here. It's finally here. It feels like it's been forever, but I'm so glad that it's coming, and we are excited to have you. And if you aren't signed up yet, we want you to come. We're hosting our first annual Top Golf fundraiser on Sunday, March 28th. It's from 12 to 4. You registration and check-in will start at noon. Gameplay or tournament play or free play will open up at 1 o'clock, and you'll have 3 hours of golf, of hitting the golf ball at Top Golf. It's going to be a great time. Like I said, we have open play and tournament play. The difference between the two is open play is where you get to just kind of play the games that are on the screen at Top Golf. So you'll be in a bay of 6 people, whether that's people you know because you signed up and bought a bay or randomly put together. You guys can play and compete against each other on the games that they provide you on the screen in the bay. Then we also have a tournament style ticket that's more played like an actual game of golf. So you will play, I think it's 18 holes. They have a person there watching, making sure that the time is good, that the holes are good, that everything you're doing is working. And then everybody that chooses to have a tournament style ticket will all compete against each other in that one game. And then there will be a final winner. And I don't 100% understand golf, but if you do and that's how you want to play, then please sign up and get a tournament style ticket. Both types of tickets are include a fajita lunch, which is a fajita buffet, and then we will also be having a raffle. We'll have lots of raffle baskets and things that you could win. We'll have drink tickets, and then you will also be amongst great company. Okay, everybody that's part of Houston Force or wants to come and do this event, they're all great people. So I can't wait to get everyone together to enjoy hopefully a beautiful day and to see everybody outside of the gym. If you're interested in joining us for the event, you can find all information at bit.ly/force golf fundraiser. I will put the link in the comments below after this is over. Tickets are $100 for the open play, $125 for the tournament style, and that includes, like I said, 3 hours of playing and a fajita buffet lunch. The money goes towards next season's scholarship fund, new equipment for our coaches and teams, like folding boxes for the coaches to stand on and to be more safe when hitting at the girls during practice. Or when the coaches might want to work on your daughter's arm swing, they want to put them up on the box, toss them the ball, and really focus on just how they move their arm. So we want to buy some of these boxes for next season. Also, if we raise enough money, there's possibility for some iPads for the coaches to take stats, record games, record practices, so that the girls can really go back and see what they are doing and how they can get better at either moving on the court or how they need to play better during a tournament. So if you have a player at Houston Force and you want more information, and want more information, reach out to them. Oh, if you know somebody that's playing at Houston Forest, reach out to them. They might have more information for you. And if they don't, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. My email is Brittany, BRITTANY, at HoustonForceVB.com. I will always get back to you. Might take a day, but I will definitely get back to you. So that's all for today. Thank you for joining me live here on Facebook, part of Force TV. I always enjoy being here with you. So until next Thursday, see you later.